Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and in today's video, the family. This video is dedicated to my family who is in the market, and this family will be the cream of the crop, and we will be rising to the absolute top. Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is the recorded on Sunday, airing on Sunday, November 14th, 2021 Crypto Bull God Podcast. You can find me on Twitter, TradingView, YouTube, and Instagram at Crypto Bull God. There's no better thing you can do to help support the channel and help to share my content throughout the crypto community than by liking the video first, dropping a comment. You can share whatever you'd like, and subscribing to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So as I've stated on previous podcasts, there's a newer podcast that I started up with my brother, CryptoBroz. There's a channel. I'll leave a link in the description of this podcast, but you definitely want to check that out. I think that he and I do a great job in helping to educate everybody on some fundamentals as well as technicals surrounding cryptocurrencies, so definitely check that out. So apologies for the late release here. You know, this was scheduled to be recorded last Tuesday, and I would say it was a combination of having some irritating, actually I'll speak to a moment on that, some irritating computer issues as well as a shortened week with some travel that I wasn't able to get this out until today, but I will do my damnedest to get this released this evening. So for those who would like to watch it as early as this evening, you'll be able to, but you know, I don't know if you've run into this, but I actually had a brand new laptop. If you follow me, if you do follow me on Twitter at Crypto Bull God, and you've been listening to the past few podcasts, you would know I was up in Jacksonville, Florida for several weeks, visiting the Crypto Bull Goddess, and I bought a brand new laptop, and ran into an issue where I think it has Windows 11, and it essentially what happened was it performed an update, and the Wi-Fi driver, the driver on my Wi-Fi card was bad. Whatever update it did, it screwed up the Wi-Fi connection that I could not get internet access, and I was getting frustrated trying to figure out what was going on. I couldn't get on the internet, and finally I contacted my brother, Crypto Bringer. Check out CryptoBroz Podcast. Very smart guy who knows a lot more related to savviness on the computers. And he helped me out. He kind of walked me through and figured out. He went to my driver devices and rolled back the update on my Wi-Fi card, and success. I had internet access. So Windows automatic update somehow got corrupted. That was the issue. So between that and having a shortened week, I just could not get this out this week. And then on top of that, I had some work things going on, end of year stuff. So things have kind of picked up. Still doing the actuarial science thing full time right now. So busy there as well, but had a great trip up in northern Florida. For those who were paying attention on Twitter, posted some pretty cool. I think there was, actually, if you follow me on Instagram, there was some more stuff on there, but posted some pretty cool stuff. Myself and the Crypto Bull Goddess both had Harmony T-shirts, so we were walking around downtown Savannah with our Harmony 1 T-shirts on. Got some photos, had some funny videos at the end of the evening. Ran into a gym unexpectedly, but you would have had to have followed me on Instagram for that. So great times in Jacksonville as well as Savannah. So I had a great trip. Might have mentioned this actually on the past podcast. I'm kind of losing track at this point. So the past few weeks have blurred together. But in any event, I've had a few weeks here, really nice time. But I'm back in Southern Florida, and I'm here to bring you this epic podcast. Because today, what we are going to discuss is the debate that took place. I would call it a debate, not an interview. A debate that took place between Anthony Pompliano and Bitboy on Anthony Pompliano's channel. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into that, I wanted to provide a quick update on Bitcoin. Something I tweeted about today, something I might try to do in future iterations of the podcast is speak to some relevant tweets that may be of interest that I've hit on Twitter and kind of bring them up on the podcast. But I'm bringing up some charts. I'm sure you can hear my mouse clicking on Bitcoin. All that's taking place right now in the chart, Bitcoin right now, we're set to close the daily candle here. I'm recording this podcast in the third quarter of the Eagles Denver Broncos game, so that can give you an indication in terms of when I'm recording this game. Right now, the Eagles are up 20-10. Once we get to the end of Twitter questions, I'm going to be pausing this and seeing if I'm still in a good mood because the Eagles are winning the game. We'll see if that's still the case in roughly 30 or 35 minutes. So, in any event, something I tweeted about today on Sunday, the 14th of November, was that, my expectation is that my main hypothesis is that Bitcoin will top. Okay, we'll have a blow-off top, euphoric top, by December of this year. Anytime before December 31st of this year. Now, of course, I've always spoken, I don't know anything with 100% certainty, right? I feel extremely confident the market hasn't topped, but, there is a chance, I call this the worst case scenario, even though it isn't a bad scenario, it's the quote-unquote worst case scenario, is the timing extends out all the way until June or July of next year, like the first half of next year. But at this moment, I still feel convicted that Bitcoin will top by December of this year, and then altcoins will bleed into January of next year. And so I tweeted that if I am correct with that assertion, you should start to see some large moves in Bitcoin starting this week. Okay, what do I mean by large moves? I anticipate this week for Bitcoin to be above 70,000. Okay, and I think it's very likely, I wouldn't even say likely, but again, if my main hypothesis is correct, and we're going to top before the end of the year somewhere between 150 and 250, right in that range, Bitcoin will be at or above $100,000 within the next 2 to 3 weeks here. Yeah, that's how quickly this market can move. And so one of the things I'm noting in the chart here, without really getting into too many technicals, I also posted a tweet here. Interestingly enough, I said it looks like a prior area of resistance that was formed between, it looks like March and April, that has now turned into an area of support. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoBroz for that chart. We do know that areas of resistance, once they're broken above, you want to see them back tested and treated as areas of then support, and that's what's happened here. Looks like that price levels, it's right around $60,000. So what's happening right now is Bitcoin has been consolidating in the $60,000 range. And I do find that oftentimes people become way too impatient in this market. They expect instant gratification, like my cousin. What was that crypto bringer? Who do we call him? Crypto Blondie? Is it Crypto Blondie? So a lot of people expect instant gratification in this market. And if you allow your emotions to kind of dictate your thought processes and actions within crypto, you will lose the shirt off your back, and or you will not profit as much or maximize your profit in this market. You really have to remain level-headed. I know I come off oftentimes as very crazy with some of the kind of off-the-wall stuff that I do. I just try to bring humor to the space, but when it comes to investments, I do feel that I've learned a lot of life lessons and remain very unemotional in these times, and it's very critical because all that's taking place right now in the chart, again, without going into any technical detail, we're just consolidating. And at some point very soon, we do have to start moving up in a rapid pace if we really are going to start hitting $150,000 to $250,000 by the end of the year. That can't happen in 5 days, okay? So I am making the assertion that we will start to see some larger price appreciations beginning this week. So let's kind of see how this plays out. there is a new episode of CryptoBroz that will be recorded on Wednesday of this week. So what would that be? Wednesday the 17th? That's the Crypto Bull God's father's birthday. It'd be pretty cool if he could join as a special guest for like a few minutes, but God only knows it would take 5 hours explaining the technology on how to join the podcast. So I don't think that'll happen, but it is my father's birthday on Wednesday. So that's when we will be recording the podcast. I'm hoping to get that uploaded. It probably won't be on Wednesday, but it'll be by Thursday for sure, because we tend to go pretty late in the evening on Wednesday. So I'll make it a point I will promise everyone that I'll get that uploaded by Thursday, as long as we are still recording it on Wednesday. But, by Wednesday, Thursday this week, we'll have a pretty good feel for if Bitcoin's starting to make some moves here. So that's something to keep in mind. So that's really the only update I had on Bitcoin. Let's get into this November 4th debate that occurred between Anthony Pompliano and Bitboy. So a few disclaimers before I get into this. I do not know all the history here. Okay, I have not gone back and seen all the tweets or all the items that were stated between these two individuals. What I've done is I've formulated some thoughts based on the interview alone. And the only thing I would add to that is I do have some personal opinions on how I feel about both of them that I can kind of include in the conversation, but I don't have all the background, okay? The other thing I would say is both Anthony Pompliano and Bitboy have been highly successful in the space. So none of what I'm sharing that I plan to share is going to be any hate or anything of the sort. There's nothing personal here. Whether I really like these guys or I really don't like these guys, I'm just going to state with you my honest to God opinions in terms of the debate, and then any thoughts in terms of just general thoughts I have on why I do or don't follow any of these guys. That's all it's going to be. And so what I did was I watched the debate/interview one time. I didn't jot any notes down. And then I watched it a second time. So I watched it 2 times in total. And the second time, I have some notes jotted down here in terms of what some of my thoughts were. Like I had some initial thoughts, and then I watched it a second time, and I wanted to kind of solidify my thought process. So here are some thoughts that I have in general. So first off, I am not subscribed to either channel. I don't particularly find any value in following these guys. And again, that's nothing personal, Bitboy was someone who actually I watched a few of his videos very early on when he first started out. And his videos were, I would say for me, they were okay. They were okay. They were okay enough that I think I was even maybe subscribed. But, they were okay enough that I'd watch them with decent regularity. But then at some point I became very disinterested. I thought he got a little hypey. I do know he's a very big sports fan in the Atlanta area, and he, once he became very big, he sort of outlined his show in an ESPN format, in my opinion. And he's been very successful. So clearly he knows what he's doing to gain viewers. And I don't doubt that he works extremely hard at what he does. It's just his content is not, for me personally, it isn't anything that I value or gravitate towards. Anthony Pompliano is a Bitcoin maximalist. So right there, he loses my interest right away. I do follow him on Twitter just because he is a prominent figure in the space. And I kind of want to keep tabs on some of the things that he's saying. And in particular, I think the main reason I began following him was because I am a big fan of Peter Schiff. Outside of his thought processes surrounding Bitcoin, I think that from a libertarian standpoint, I agree with much of what he says. And so I always found it entertaining when Anthony Pompliano and Peter Schiff would debate, And so I do follow him on Twitter, and I have seen them kind of go back and forth, and that is entertaining for me. But I don't I don't follow Anthony Pompliano outside of that. He's a Bitcoin maximalist. Without knowing anything, he seems to be one of these people who has only gravitated towards Ethereum because a lot of big figures in the space, like Raul from Real Vision Finance, Raul Paul from Real Vision Finance, people like that have come out and supported projects like Ethereum. It's debatably become a non-altcoin and just a separate sort of big project, and so I believe he now supports Ethereum, but he's always been a Bitcoin maximalist, and I think maximalism is tribalism, is ignorance, and so anybody who's a maximalist, I just kind of scoff at and don't pay attention to. So anyway, that's my own personal views on the content they put out. That's just genuinely how I feel. So I'm sure both of these guys are great people in person. Really, I'm sure they're great people. It's just from a cryptocurrency perspective and the content they put out, I don't care to spend my time watching it, or listening. So one of the things I noted here, let's kind of get into the debate and share my own views and thoughts surrounding this debate. So one of the things that Bitboy stated very early on was that Pomp sounded very out of touch with his comments on Shiba. And looking back, and this kind of ties into Bitboy stating that he never, ever, ever stated to buy Shiba, and that he doesn't even like meme coins. Bitboy stated he does not like meme coins. His whole argument was that it was ignorant to say you can't make money off of Shiba. So let me make a few comments here. So I actually, taking for face value, okay, and I don't know what was said outside the context of this interview. Taking for face value what Bitboy is saying as factually correct, I would agree with him that I personally don't like meme coins, and I do think it's ignorant to state that you couldn't make money from Shiba. And so I kind of understand where he's coming from, where if you have someone coming out and is shitting on someone, because this is what I got from the interview. If you have someone in Anthony Pompliano that's coming out and shitting on Bitboy because he's basically saying, look, Shiba is a huge narrative right now. And if you go back to a podcast I had with my brother on CryptoBroz, I actually stated that while I don't own any Dogecoin, I would consider investing in it because of the narrative and Elon Musk is behind it, okay? So I understand where he's coming from with that. In my opinion, that's just being intelligent. If you understand there's a narrative surrounding something, even if it's temporary, everyone, even if it's temporary, I'm not here to talk to you about fundamentals with HBAR going to $1 million or XRP ruling the world. That's not what this conversation's about. What I'm trying to tell you is if you realize that there is a narrative going on, even if it lasts 3 months, and you could make potentially, you could invest a small amount if you could read a chart and make an astronomical amount of money. Why would you not want to do that? That sounds stupid to me if you wouldn't want to do that. So I do get his point that if you're coming out and you're blasting someone for saying, look, I don't even like meme coins. Okay, again, this is me taking for face value that Bitboy is being accurate in what he's saying. I don't even like meme coins. But what I see is a narrative taking place that people are putting money in this thing and making a lot of money. Look, be careful. You could put some money in it. You could also get burned. But this could be a great temporary investment opportunity or trade opportunity to make a lot of money. I don't see any fault in that. Okay, I don't see any fault in that. And I will say Bitboy was very adamant in stating that he never stated to buy Shiba, and that he doesn't like meme coins. And again, I'll go back to this and say, if I take that for face value and he's accurate in what he's saying, then what I get out of the conversation is Anthony Pompliano shooting down Bitboy for saying that there was a temporary opportunity to make money off of Shiba or an investment, and that was stupid. Anthony Pompliano, you have to understand, is a maximalist. Even if he's opened up from peer pressure, quite frankly, seemingly, if he's opened up to the idea of Ethereum, he's still a maximalist, okay? And so I do get where Bitboy is stating that Pompliano is out of touch with a lot of the comments he's making, and at some point, he even said this, at some point, if Anthony Pompliano doesn't kind of turn around his thought processes, he'll become irrelevant over time. I tend to agree with that. And again, just so everyone isn't missing this, I'm not a Bitboy fan. Okay, I stated this at the beginning. I'm not an Anthony Pompliano or a Bitboy fan. I just see where the dude's coming from. All right? The other thing, so there's two more kind of things I want to hit on here, and these are really important. See, the other thing that Anthony Pompliano brought up was that Bitboy had some sort of video with a title that in the graphic said something about XRP to 589. And anyone who's been in the space knows that that's a meme. It's a joke at this point. Nobody with any intelligence thinks that XRP is going to 589. If it does go to 589, this would be so far out in the future that it's not even worth having a conversation. The supply would have to change. But the point is in general, XRP going to 589 is unrealistic, and anybody with any shred of intelligence knows that. And so it's a meme, it's a joke, like we all get it. And what Anthony Pompliano was stating is this is clickbait. Like you put this in your graphic and you get people to click on it and you're saying that XRP is going to 589. Well, Bitboy comes right back and says nowhere in the video did I actually say that XRP was going to 589. And in fact, Anthony Pompliano, you did the same thing in your Bitcoin video. You said that Bitcoin was going to $20 million. You had a thumbnail, a graphic that said Bitcoin to 20 million. And the thing that irritated me about this back and forth was there were really two things. Okay, I want to be clear about this. Two things. One, Anthony Pompliano was being very childish. He was laughing in a very sarcastic, jackass way that made me want to reach through the video and just wring him by the neck and knock him upside the head. Like, he looked like a jackass. And he was coming off as a pompous jackass. And he, this is the first thing, no matter what Bitboy said, okay, in my title I said an unrealistic price chart. Anthony, in your thumbnail, you had an unrealistic price target. Anthony could never acknowledge that. He could never acknowledge that. He kept going back to saying, well, I interviewed someone that said it would go to that price. Like, I never said it. And, that was Anthony's point. And then Bitboy's point was, I never said in my video XRP was going to 589. I never said it. We did the same thing. We used these titles as clickbait to get people to watch it. We did the same thing. And the thing that irritated me was, as much as I agree with what Bitboy was saying there, I agree with him. They were both of them were using clickbait. It is very common in the industry to use clickbait. The thing that irritated me about Pompliano, he was so goddamn ignorant, not ignorant. He was just so arrogant and so pompous, and there was a part of the video where he said, no, that's a lie, stop. He kept repeating himself, and he just sounded so immature, and he just couldn't acknowledge the fact. He actually sounded like an idiot, to be honest with you. He sounded like an idiot because as much as Bitboy was rephrasing what he was saying, Pompliano wouldn't acknowledge it and say, but in your title, you said it would go to 589. And then we'd go back to Bitboy, and Bitboy would say, yes, it's clickbait. In the video, I never said XRP would go to 589. And then 2 minutes would go by, and Pompliano would go back to the point, in your video, you said that XRP would go to 589. And then it just kept going back and forth. And the point is, Pompliano was doing the exact same thing that Bitboy. They were both at fault for putting thumbnails that didn't accurately depict their own personal viewpoints. And the reason they did it, to gain viewers. They both were guilty of it. Bitboy at least admitted it. I respect him not for doing it, but I respect him for admitting it. Pompliano couldn't even admit it, and that really irritated me. So that's the first point I wanted to make. The second point, and this is really important, this is maybe the most important point I want to make in this whole debate. Bitboy openly stated that he hates clickbait, yet he uses it. So he admits to using something that goes against, it's almost like it goes against the very fiber of who he is. And the way he was adamant about it, I would argue maybe internally he struggles with doing it. Maybe it struggles with his moral compass, but he does it anyway because guess what? Quote unquote, everyone else does it. Let me tell you something about this channel. I don't know moving forward. I've alluded to this before. I will have a lot more time at my disposal moving forward beginning next year. I will be putting out a lot more content. I will be working harder at what I'm doing in this space, and you should see a shift in the value in the content I'm putting out. One thing I want to promise you, you call me out. Call me out if you ever see something to the contrary. One thing I will never do is use clickbait. Using clickbait goes against everything that I believe in. I feel that using clickbait, how can I put this? I said this to the crypto bull goddess because I was talking to her about this podcast. If I start using clickbait in some way, it attacks my own personal integrity. I am so big on integrity. Don't mistake any humor I put out there or any content I put out there, and I try to be entertaining. Don't mistake that in terms of the type of person I am. Okay, who I am at the very center of my being is a very truthful person who values integrity perhaps more than anything. Honesty and integrity matter so much to me. I always tell people that I work with, I'll always be transparent with you. I'll always be candid with you. I always want to have real conversations with you. Like, I really value your feedback. I really value your input. I value transparent conversations. And when I put out things and I share it with you, it's honestly how I feel about things. And if I start putting out clickbait, if I start putting out thumbnails and graphics on videos to gain viewers that are misleading, so the thumbnail, like for example, if I put out a video and it said H-bar to 1,000, and I just knew that I had a lot of H-barbarians who watch my content, listen to my content, maybe are uneducated in terms of true price appreciation, realistic levels, that may click on it, hoping to get some sort of emotional gratification from listening to me because they value what I have to say. And they're just looking for me to tell them how their 10,000 H-bar, quick math in my head, can turn into 100,000. Is that right? 10,000 times 1,000? That was quick in my head. Shit. 10,000 times 1,000. Shit, that might be 1,000,000. Oh, man. Take back my actuary card. That's 10 million. Damn, that was a lot of zeros. It was quick in my head. All right. So, they want some quick gratification to know, oh, my God, can my 10,000 H-bar turn into $10 million? The reality is that's not going to happen, okay? And I would feel so god-awful if I ever did something like that. Like, I can't put my integrity at stake to gain viewers. I do have personal goals for myself, and I am confident that I can grow subscribers and followers, right? But I'm not going to do that at the risk of my integrity. And so while I respect, on the one hand, while I respect what Bitboy was stating, that he hates clickbait, but he uses it, on the other hand, I really have to challenge his thought process and ask him, like if I was interviewing him, I'd really press him. And I'd press Pompliano, but Pompliano is a lot less forthcoming than Bitboy has been. And I'd say, if you really think about when you first started out in this space and who you are as a person, was it really worth it to deceive people in a way, because in a sense, when you put out clickbait like that, it is a form of deception. Was it really worth deceiving people to click on your video for a view so you could grow your content? I have a real issue with that. And on the one hand, it was nice to hear someone admit that it was clickbait and they hate it. But on the other hand, it's very discerning. And I just wish it didn't happen. It's a lot of it's out there. But on this channel, you can count on me not using clickbait. It was very disheartening. That was the word. It's very disheartening to hear someone who's grown their channel so much and has such a large following. And again, I don't debate the fact that this guy's worked real hard to grow his channel, and so has Anthony Pompliano. But the whole clickbait thing is really irritating to me. I can't do it. I could never see myself doing it. I'd hate myself if I did do it, and it bothers me. So those are my thoughts in the debate. I think overall, to sum it up, I think Bitboy was a lot more transparent, a lot more forthcoming. Pompliano was more childish, a lot more stubborn, a lot more closed off, not willing to share as much. I think both of them clearly use clickbait to gain viewership, which I don't respect one bit. So it was an interesting conversation, I would say. You know, of the two, I think of the points they were making, I would certainly, if I had to take a side on someone, I would certainly take a side with Bitboy, that he was making some more valid points than Pompliano was. So those are my thoughts there. So let's get into the chart of the week. So the chart of the week that I wrote down, I didn't want to change it for this podcast, whether or not I came up with a different chart. Let's see what the price was on that day. So when was Tuesday? Tuesday was the 9th of November. So on the 9th, we opened at 42.2 cents, and right now we're at 43.8 cents. Chart of the week is H-bar, and the reason that H-bar on the USD is my chart of the week, there is a massive cup and handle that I've been talking about forever. It was in the cup and handles TA video, my last TA video that I put out. We have since broken out of the handle, in my opinion. We've back-tested the downtrend of the handle. And this week, I'm expecting further upside. I'm expecting us to break up towards that 50 cent area and above. So let's see what happens here. But the thing you have to recognize with H-bar is that I'm not going to say what percentage of my portfolio this makes up. The only thing I will say is it is a very large holding in my personal portfolio. I've increased the position based on a few minor trades I've mentioned to everyone based on relativity charts. So I even have more H-bar than I had a couple months ago, which is outstanding. And this thing has moved from the top 70 to the top 60 to the top 50 to now the top 30. This thing is going to break up into the top 20, which I stated would be very likely. I thought top 10 was a little too aggressive, but I thought in that top 20 range was very realistic, and that's the way it looks to be headed. So let's keep an eye on H-bar. If you're not in, I would, never financial advice, but I'd consider taking a position here and not waiting. The chart setup is beautiful. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoBroz for more on H-bar, but H-bar USD is my massive cup and shoulders breaking out right now, chart of the week. Now let's get into Twitter questions. Let's get into some Twitter questions. All right, the Eagles are up 27-13, and they have the ball here. It's probably the fourth quarter. I didn't see the quarter, but glad to see they're still winning because it's been a pretty shit-tacular year so far. So that's good to see. Let's get into questions. By the way, as I was scrolling for these Twitter questions, I saw some tweets I had on sushi. I can't wait to talk about sushi in a couple weeks because it very much reminds me, it's very reminiscent of Mana when it became stagnant. And Mana jumped from the 70 cent or 80 cent range all the way up to $5. I can't wait for sushi to go 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100 in the blink of an eye. And we'll talk about it in a few weeks. But anyway, let's get into questions. So, first question. What will be H-bar's top in the current bull market? Answer, watch the Holy Crypto Trinity video. Nothing has changed, my friend. Question, how's Minishift doing? Minishift has seemed pretty disinterested in anything that's been going on. He gives me some bullshit about hedging his bet by buying Bitcoin if it goes up. It's funny because I just tweeted him today and I said I expect Bitcoin to be greater than or equal to $100,000 within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And his response was maybe. He's not very interested. He's not giving me a hard time. He's also not, I don't know. He's going to lose his bet. So I don't have any thoughts other than that. Pros and cons of stacking sats, in your opinion? Not sure what you mean. I mean, stacking sats is an extremely intelligent decision, in my opinion. You're accumulating crypto over fiat. It's an extremely intelligent decision. Cigar brand recommendations and celebrations coming. You damn right. You know what? I don't have any cigar brand recommendations. I smoke so infrequently that I don't know cigar brands well. I'll randomly pick something up that looks good and smells good. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. Maybe it's something I'll educate myself in the future about. But I can't wait to smoke the cigar that's been sitting in my drawer for a while now. This is a good question. Gonna get some special guests on CBG Podcast, CryptoBroz for discussions or debate. Credible Crypto and Cash. I can tell you not BCB because I don't watch his stuff, but Credible Crypto or Encash, any of those two would be awesome to have as special guests. I know Encash and I have talked about doing a podcast together. It hasn't happened yet, but yes, down the road, I would like to do some joint efforts with people who I respect in the space. There could be numerous people who come to mind, including Credible Crypto and Encash. Good question, and I appreciate it. Do you still think Mana will go all the way down to $1.50? Well, I gave a range. Remember, I didn't say $1.50. That's not what I said. Let's make sure we're being accurate with what I actually communicated. So what I said was I gave a range. The range, it looks like what I have circled here is a price wick anywhere between $1.68 to $1.20. I don't know that it's going to get as low as $1.20 at this point. But anywhere between $1.68, let's just say $1.70 to $1.20, yeah, I still think it's very possible. Do you still have the same exit plan on XLM and HBAR? Yep, nothing's changed. Holy Crypto Trinity video. The only thing I'd add to that is one of the things I am basing my exit strategy on is not just setting price targets from like 6 months ago. Obviously, I'm going to be watching to see how high Bitcoin goes, as well as where the other altcoins are at, because ultimately Bitcoin will dictate the entire market. So how high Bitcoin goes, how high the rest of the market goes, in other words. So if Bitcoin has a lower top, most of your other altcoins will have lower tops. If Bitcoin has a larger top, your other alts will have a larger top. By the way, that's also one of the arguments for actually having somewhat of an expanded cycle, though I don't believe in the expanding cycle theory. But if Bitcoin didn't top until the first or second quarter of next year, that's actually a really good thing in terms of price appreciation, because the longer that time goes out, the higher theoretically price should go, or has the potential to go. So it's not such a bad thing, actually, if Bitcoin topped, say, in May of next year. But in any respects, no. I mean, the main price levels I have for XLM and HBAR have not changed. I'm just going to assess where I likely see them going as Bitcoin begins to top out. That'll further formulate and modify my exit strategy. How do you focus on your day job without obsessing about crypto? Good question. It's challenging. Your 1 and HBAR price points to take out profits in this cycle. Well, I put out some price ranges. I'm going to monitor those price ranges as Bitcoin begins to top out and still see if they're logical. As we begin to reach those price ranges, I'm going to scale out based on my own risk tolerance level, which is something I've spoken to many times before. So, leave a like on the podcast, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and check out the CryptoBroz Podcast that will be dropping by Thursday. It's going to be recorded on Wednesday of this week. Very informative channel. We don't have a whole lot of subscribers right now, so spread the good word. So, in closing, please join me in a moment of silence for all of those I attempted on multiple occasions to get into crypto and have remained absolutely 100% motherfucking ignorant. Gracias, mi amigos y amigas.